Today I want to talk to you about a secret weapon, a force so powerful that it doesn't need to shout to be heard. It doesn't need to boast to be seen. I'm talking about the quiet strength of having class, true class. Now, I'm not talking about the kind of class that's measured by the labels on your clothes or the amount of money in your wallet. No, I'm talking about the kind of class that radiates from within. The kind of class that tells the world who you are without you ever having to say a word. And when a man sees it, he knows you've got something special. You have grace, you have dignity, you have character. Let me share with you 5 very attractive things that tell a man you've got class. Your confidence is unshakable. Let me talk to you about something that is rare. Something that men can sense from the moment you step into a room. It's called confidence, but not just any confidence, unshakable confidence. The kind of confidence that doesn't depend on the opinions of others. The kind of confidence that doesn't fluctuate based on your circumstances or how many people applaud you. I'm talking about a confidence that is deeply rooted in who you are and whose you are. You see, confidence is not about arrogance. It's not about walking around with your chest puffed out and your head held high in a way that makes everyone else feel small. No, true confidence is quiet. It is composed. It doesn't need to announce itself with loud words or dramatic gestures. True confidence is reflected in how you carry yourself, how you walk, how you talk, and how you move through this world. When you walk in confidence, you walk with the understanding that you are not here by accident. You are not here by mere chance. You are here because God has placed you here on purpose for a purpose. You know your value because you are a reflection of His greatness. When you understand that, you stop looking for validation from anyone else. You stop searching for approval. You stop waiting for someone else to tell you that you are worthy. You already know it. Confidence comes from knowing that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are the apple of God's eye. You are His beloved. And when you carry that truth in your heart, there's nothing that can shake you, nothing that can make you feel less than, because you know you are always enough. But let me tell you, the world doesn't always recognize this kind of confidence. The world wants to see you struggle. It wants to see you doubt. It wants to see you second guess yourself. But when your confidence is unshakable, you don't let the opinions of others determine your direction. You don't let criticism or rejection cause you to shrink back. No, you rise higher. Because confidence, the kind that comes from within, is not dependent on external circumstances. It's not contingent on what other people think. It is rooted in who you are in Christ, and that foundation cannot be moved. I've seen women walk into rooms not because they are the loudest, but because they are the strongest. They walk in and they don't even need to say a word. Their very presence demands attention. Not because they are trying to impress anyone, but because their confidence speaks for itself. They are not trying to prove anything. They are just being themselves, and that is more than enough. Men, let me tell you, when you encounter a woman like this, you can't help but respect her. You can't help but notice her, because she doesn't need to chase validation. She carries it within her. When a woman is unshakable in her confidence, she walks with power. She walks with authority. And that, my friends, is incredibly attractive. Not because of the clothes she wears or the way she looks, but because she knows who she is and she walks like it. There's something magnetic about a woman who doesn't apologize for her presence. She doesn't shrink herself down to fit someone else's idea of who she should be. She knows that if she's called to something greater, she's destined for something beyond what the world tells her she can be. There's no need to apologize for walking in her purpose. She steps into every room like she. But let me be clear, this unshakable confidence is not about being perfect. It's not about pretending you have it all together. It's not about pretending that life doesn't have its ups and downs. No, true confidence acknowledges that you're human. It knows that you've had some victories and some defeats, but you're still standing. It knows that you've had some scars, but you wear them like badges of honor. It knows that even when the world tried to break you, God's grace has kept you standing. And when a man sees that kind of confidence, when he sees that you're not afraid to stand tall, even in the face of adversity, he knows that you're the kind of woman who won't bend or break under pressure. You'll rise above it. You'll keep moving forward. You'll keep climbing higher. So let me tell you this, my sister. When you walk with unshakable confidence, you are showing the world what it looks like to walk in divine purpose. You are showing them what it looks like to stand firm no matter what. And when a man sees that in you, he sees strength. He sees power. He sees a woman who doesn't need his approval to know her worth. And that, my friend, is something truly remarkable. You value your time and energy. Let me ask you a question. How much do you value your time? How much do you value your energy? See, time is one thing we all have in common, but how we spend it makes all the difference. Too many people spend their time like it's endless, like it's something they can just waste away. But I want you to hear me loud and clear. Your time is precious, and it's a gift that you can never get back once it's gone. A woman of class knows this. She knows that time is her most valuable asset. And because she understands this, she is intentional about how she invests it. She doesn't squander it on things that do not add value to her life or the lives of others. She doesn't waste time on drama, on negativity, or on relationships that drain her spirit. No, she protects her time with the same fervor that she protects her heart, because she understands that how you spend your time is a reflection of what you value. And if you value yourself, you will treat your time with the respect it deserves. There's a reason the Bible tells us in Ephesians 5:15-16 to be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. Every moment is an opportunity, and you have the power to choose how you will use it. When you value your time, you don't just live passively, waiting for life to happen to you. No, you actively choose the direction of your life. You make decisions that propel you forward, that bring you closer to your purpose, that bring you closer to the woman God has called you to be. Now, let me tell you something powerful about the woman who values her time. She doesn't allow other people to hijack it. She doesn't let people come into her life and take up space without offering anything of value in return. She is discerning about who she gives her time to. And she doesn't just let anyone have access to her heart, her mind, or her energy. She's protective of her time because she knows that time wasted is time she can never get back. She doesn't allow distractions to rob her of her peace or her purpose. And let me tell you, distractions will come. They'll try to pull you in every direction. People will try to get you to invest time in things that have no eternal value. But the woman who understands the worth of her time and energy says, no, I can't afford to waste any more time on things that do not serve my future. And that's how you protect your peace, that's how you protect your energy, and that's how you walk with purpose. Now hear me, when you value your time, you also understand the importance of rest. I want to speak to some of you who are out there running yourself ragged, giving all your energy to people and things that do not refill your cup. A woman of class knows when to say no. She knows when it's time to rest, to recharge, and to refill her spirit. She understands that you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't keep giving if you're not taking care of yourself. And so she makes space for rest, for reflection, and for restoration. I'm talking about the kind of woman who knows that her energy is limited, so she invests it wisely. She pours into people who are worthy of her time, who add value to her life, who build her up instead of tearing her down. She knows how to say no to toxic relationships, to draining conversations, and to anything that pulls her away from her purpose. But let me tell you, valuing your time and energy is not just about avoiding the wrong things. It's also about committing to the right things. It's about investing your time in things that will help you grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. It's about giving your time to things that bring you closer to your dreams, that bring you closer to God's calling on your life. When you invest your time wisely, you see the return on that investment. You begin to see the fruit of your labor, not just in the big things, but in the small things. You see growth in your relationships. You see growth in your career. You see growth in your spiritual walk. Because when you value your time and energy, you make sure you're sowing into things that will bring a harvest. And hear this, when you value your time, you also value your energy in the same way. Energy is just as valuable as time, and sometimes even more so. It's easy to give away your time. We all have 24 hours in a day. But energy, that's different. Energy is limited. You cannot keep pouring your energy into every single thing without burning out. A woman of class knows that not every battle is hers to fight. She knows when to save her energy for what truly matters. When you value your energy, you recognize the importance of self-care. You take time for yourself. You do the things that renew your spirit. You invest in your health, your well-being, and your happiness, because you understand that your energy is a reflection of your overall health. You can't pour into others if you're not first pouring. And the truth is, when you honor your time and energy, you send a message to everyone around you. I am valuable. You teach others how to treat you. You set the standard for how people can engage with you. If you give away your time without boundaries, people will take it. If you give away your energy without limit, people will take that too. But when you value your time and energy, you teach people that your time is a gift, and they'll learn to honor that gift. Your kindness is your signature. I want you to hear me clearly today, because there's something powerful that I need to speak over you. Your kindness, your genuine, authentic kindness, is one of the most powerful forces you'll ever carry in this life. It's not just something you do when it's convenient. It's not just something you put on like a coat when you're in the right company. Kindness is your signature, the mark you leave on every person you encounter. And let me tell you something, when you have this kind of kindness, it's like a fragrance that follows you. It lingers in the hearts and minds of people long after you've gone. When you walk into a room, the first thing people should feel is your spirit of kindness. It's a quiet strength, not the kind of kindness that expects something in return, but the kind of kindness that flows freely because you understand that it is a reflection of the love of God within you. It is the very essence of who you are, and it radiates from you like light shining in the darkness. Kindness, let me tell you, is not weakness. In fact, it is one of the greatest strengths a person can possess. It's easy to be harsh. It's easy to hold on to bitterness. It's easy to respond to hurt with more hurt. But a woman of class, a woman who knows her worth, responds with kindness, even when the world tries to provoke her into anger, into bitterness, or into isolation. She rises above that. She stands firm in the face of criticism and hatred, and she responds with love, with compassion, with grace. Now let me be clear. Kindness is not about being a doormat. It's not about allowing people to walk all over you or treat you poorly. No, kindness is not about tolerating disrespect. It's about choosing to respond in a way that brings healing instead of harm. It's about offering peace when others would bring chaos. It's about lifting others up when the world might try to tear them down. That is the power of kindness. When you understand its true meaning, You use it not to please others, but to align yourself with God's will for your life. There is something deeply attractive about a woman who is kind. Oh, let me tell you something. My sister, when you choose kindness as your signature, people will remember you not for your beauty or your talents, but for the way you made them feel. You see, people may forget what you said. They may forget what you wore. They may even forget where you came from. But they will never forget how you made them feel. And kindness, true kindness, creates a lasting impression. But I want to speak to some of you right now who are struggling with this. Some of you may feel like you've been hurt so many times that you can't find it in your heart to be kind anymore. Some of you may have been betrayed, disappointed, or rejected, and now kindness feels like a weakness, like you've given too much and received too little. But hear me today, beloved. Kindness is a seed that you sow, and the harvest may not come when you expect it, but it will come. You reap what you sow. When you choose kindness, even when it's hard, you're sowing into the very atmosphere around you. And even if the people you've shown kindness to don't return it, I want you to know that God sees it and He will bless you for it. The world may tell you to be hard, to be tough, to never show weakness, but the truth is, kindness is not weakness, it is power. When you can walk into a room and choose love over hate, peace over strife, grace over judgment, that is strength. You are strong when you can love people who have hurt you. You are strong when you can give grace to those who don't deserve it. You are strong when you choose to remain kind in a world that can sometimes be cruel. And let me tell you this, kindness changes things. It changes people. I've seen kindness break down walls that anger and resentment could never touch. I've seen kindness heal wounds that seemed too deep to ever recover. And it doesn't just change others, it changes you. It softens your heart. It gives you a heart of compassion. And when your heart is soft, you become more aligned with God's heart. You become an instrument of His peace, and He begins to move through you in ways that will astonish you. But listen to me when I say your kindness is your signature. I don't just mean it in the sense of how you treat others. I mean it in the sense of how you carry your kindness in the world. It's how you handle your challenges. It's how you handle your setbacks. It's how you handle your own pain. When life tries to knock you down, kindness doesn't mean letting people take advantage of you. It means choosing to rise above it. When you are faced with an opportunity to get even, to fight back, or to retaliate, kindness says, I will choose to love anyway. I will choose to forgive. I will choose to heal because I know that vengeance belongs to the Lord. And when you walk in that kind of grace, when you walk in that kind of love, you not only become a reflection of God's mercy, but you also create space for others to rise. You create space for them to heal. You create space for people to see a better way to live. And let me tell you, people are looking for that. They are looking for a sign of hope in a hopeless world. They are looking for a woman who will stand tall, stand strong, and choose kindness, even when it's not easy. So, beloved, let me leave you with this. Your kindness is not just a thing you do. It is who you are. It is your mark on the world. And when you leave your mark, the world will never forget the way you made them feel. Let kindness be your signature, your lasting impression. You stand in your truth. Let me tell you something about standing in your truth. Your truth. Because there's power in it. There's a divine strength that comes when you make the decision to stand in the fullness of who you are, unapologetically. I'm not talking about standing in the truth of what others say about you or what the world thinks you should be. No, I'm talking about I'm talking about standing firm in the truth of the woman you are becoming, despite what life has thrown at you. You see, the world wants to shape you. It wants to tell you who you should be, how you should act, what you should believe, and where you should go. But when you know your truth, you don't bend, you don't bow, and you don't break. You stand. When you stand in your truth, you say, I am who God created me to be. I will not shrink. I will not apologize for my journey. I will not apologize for my progress. And I will not apologize for my destiny. The truth is, there's a lot of pressure in this world to conform. The pressure to fit into boxes that the world has created for you. But hear me, beloved, you are not meant to fit into a box. You were made to be a masterpiece. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. And when you stand in your truth, you honor the divine design that God has placed on your life. Let me break it down for you. Standing in your truth doesn't mean everything is perfect. It doesn't mean you don't have challenges, setbacks, or scars. No. Standing in your truth means you own your journey. You own your scars. You own your mistakes. And you don't allow the failures of your past to define the woman you are today. You let them refine you. Every tear you've shed, every heartache you've endured, and every mistake you've made is all a part of your truth. And when you stand in it, you no longer let shame, guilt, or condemnation hold you back. You rise above it. You stand tall in who you are because you know that God has already forgiven you, redeemed you, and restored you. Now hear me clearly. There is a difference between standing in your truth and living in your truth. Some people are living in a lie. They're pretending to be something they're not, wearing masks to please others, hiding behind facades to avoid rejection. But the woman who stands in her truth says, I'm not afraid to be real. I'm not afraid to be honest. I'm not afraid to show up in the world exactly as I am because I trust that God will use me, flaws and all, for his glory. The world doesn't need more pretenders. It doesn't need more people who are afraid to show up as their true selves. The world needs you just as you are. It needs your authenticity. It needs your voice. It needs your story. You see, when you stand in your truth, you give permission for others to do the same. Your courage inspires them to find their own voice, their own path, and their own truth. That's the power of standing in your truth. It's contagious, but standing in your truth also means setting boundaries. Let me say it again. Standing in your truth means setting boundaries. Too many women are afraid to set boundaries because they think it'll make them seem unkind or selfish. But when you know your worth, when you know your truth, you don't allow anyone to cross those boundaries. You protect your peace. You protect your purpose. You protect your energy. You don't let people come into your life and take up space without contributing anything of value. And let me tell you, when you set those boundaries, people will start to respect you because they see that you know who you are and what you stand for. But I need to speak to some of you right now who are still trying to fit into other people's expectations. Maybe you're still trying to meet the approval of others. Maybe you're still waiting for someone to give you permission to be who God has already created you to be. You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need anyone's validation. When you stand in your truth, you're not looking for permission from anyone. You're simply walking in the path that God has set before you. You are the architect of your own destiny. And let me tell you, standing in your truth doesn't always mean that everyone will understand you. It doesn't mean that everyone will like you or agree with you. In fact, sometimes the people closest to you will be the ones who don't understand your journey, but that's okay. When you stand in your truth, you recognize that it's not about the approval of others. It's about walking in the calling that God has placed on your life. Your truth is not for everyone to understand, but it is for you to live. When you stand in your truth, you walk in the power of who you were created to be. You don't apologize for your confidence. You don't apologize for your voice. You don't apologize for the life you are building. And that, my friend, is one of the most powerful things you can do. Because when you stand in your truth, you give the world a glimpse of the woman you are becoming. And let me tell you, there is nothing more powerful than a woman who stands firm in her truth. So I'm challenging you today. Are you standing in your truth, or are you hiding behind someone else's expectations? Are you walking in the fullness of who God has called you to be, or are you still trying to live up to the standards of the world? Stand tall, beloved. Stand strong. Stand firm in your truth, because when you do, there's nothing that can stop you. There's nothing that can hold you back. There's nothing that can take away the power of your story, your purpose, and your future. You were born to stand in your truth. Your inner peace is unmatched. Let me tell you something powerful about peace, real peace. You see, there's a peace that comes from the outside world, and then there's a peace that comes from within. The peace that the world gives is temporary. It's fleeting, it's conditional. It depends on circumstances. It depends on who's around you, what's happening around you, and how things are going in your life. But the peace I'm talking about, the peace that comes from within, is unshakable. It is a peace that transcends every storm, every trial, and every circumstance. This peace is rooted deep in your spirit, and when you have it, there is nothing in this world that can take it away from you. A woman of class, a woman who knows her worth, walks in this peace. She doesn't allow the noise of the world to disturb her. She doesn't let the chaos and confusion around her steal her calm. Oh, the world will try. The world will try to throw distractions at you. It will try to bring drama, frustration, and stress into your life. But when you know the peace of God, you stand firm in it. You are rooted in it. You are unshaken by the winds of worry, the waves of fear, or the turbulence of trouble. Because you know that your peace is not contingent on your circumstances. It is a gift that God has already given you. The Bible tells us in John 14:27, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid." Jesus himself gives us peace, not as the world gives, but as a gift that surpasses understanding. This is the kind of peace that keeps you steady when the world is spinning around you. This is the kind of peace that gives you rest when you're under pressure. This is the kind of peace that allows you to hold your head high even when everything around you is falling apart. But let me be clear, this peace doesn't come from pretending everything is okay. It doesn't come from ignoring the problems. No, this peace comes from trusting God in the midst of it all. It's about knowing that even though you may be in a storm, God is still in control. Even though you may be facing obstacles, God has already paved the way for your victory. It's a peace that says, I don't know how this is going to work out, but I know who holds my future, and I trust him. And because you trust him, your heart remains calm even in the midst of uncertainty. Now hear me, when you walk in this inner peace, people will notice. Oh yes, they'll notice. They'll see you standing tall, unshaken, when others around you are losing their minds. They'll see you smiling when everyone else is stressed. They'll see you moving with grace when others are stumbling in fear. But let me tell you, it's not because you've got it all together. It's because you know who holds it all together. You know that your peace doesn't depend on what's happening around you. It depends on the one who lives within you. And when you have that kind of peace, people can't help but ask, how are you so calm? How are you handling all this with such grace? And that, beloved, is your moment to tell them, it's not me, it's the peace of God that passes all understanding. But there's something else about this peace. It's a peace that protects you. When you have this peace, it guards your heart. It guards your mind. It's like a fortress around you, protecting you from negativity, from worry, from the weight of the world. Let me tell you, there's a reason the Bible calls this peace the peace of God, which transcends all understanding. Philippians 4:7. It's because this peace doesn't make sense to the world. The world looks at you and says, you should be freaking out right now. You should be stressed out. You should be worried. You should be panicking. But instead, you're standing there in the midst of your trials with a calmness that doesn't make sense, because your peace isn't from this world. And when you carry this kind of peace, you don't let the negativity of others disturb you. I want to speak to some of you who are letting the opinions, judgments, and criticisms of others steal your peace. Let me tell you, do not let anyone steal your peace. People will talk. People will criticize. People will try to bring drama into your life. But you've got to learn how to protect your peace. You've got to learn how to say, I'm not going to engage in that. I'm not going to feed into that negativity. I am going to guard my peace because I know what it costs me to have it. There's a wisdom that comes with walking in peace. It's a wisdom that teaches you to choose your battles wisely. It's a wisdom that teaches you that not every argument is worth having, not every situation is worth stressing over, and not every person is worth your time or energy. When you walk in peace, you realize that some things are simply not worth your mental, emotional, or spiritual investment. And that's how you protect your peace. You choose where to direct your focus. You choose what to allow into your heart, because you know that your peace is priceless. Now hear this, your peace is not just for you, it's for the people around you too. When you walk in peace, you become a source of peace for others. You become the calm in the storm for the people who need it the most. And it's not always about saying something profound or giving a sermon. Sometimes it's just your presence. Sometimes it's just the way you move through the world with a steady, peaceful spirit. People will be drawn to your peace because they can sense that there is something different about you. And in that moment, you can lead them to the one who gives peace that the world cannot take away. So, my sister, let me tell you this, never underestimate the power of your peace. Never underestimate how powerful it is to walk in the peace that only God can give. It's a peace that guards your heart. It's a peace that calms your mind. It's a peace that gives you strength when you're weak. It's a peace that becomes your testimony. It's a peace that the world can never take away from you. And when you walk in that peace, you walk in divine authority.